morning. Thanks for coming in a bit early this morning. I had some other commitments for this afternoon that precluded me from having my time on the regular 12 o'clock hour. So, today I wanted to talk to you about power and desire. People, when we think about power and desire, we automatically take it to the human experience. So, power has to be something somebody wields. Power has to be something that somebody generates through electricity to make things move. Power, as a definition, can mean many things, but for all intents and purposes, when we use the word power, we think of somebody wielding power. We think of somebody holding power over us, or we hold power over other people. And we do it through governing, through our work hierarchy, our family hierarchy, our education system. Somebody has to be in charge of somebody else, which tells us that person has power. Do they really? Or do they just wield the power given to them for that one position and somebody else holds power over them? The problem with that is that resentments build when we don't feel that somebody is acting in their integrity with their power. It's often said that power is that time in which we really need to, if our governing system is in power and in their integrity, then everybody flourishes. But when we cherry pick who's in power to get our human needs met, we abuse power. And our desire changes predicated on who holds power. So think of it like when you were a child and your parents they had to teach you, socialize you, show you how to get things done. From potty training to feeding yourself to dressing yourself to going to school, somebody was always showing you things. So that person, instead of being known as a mentor, was in charge of you. So they had power over you. And that power gave us our emotional reactions to that because it depended on who had the power over us and how they wielded it as to how well we did with it. So our relationships as we got older and we looked toward our adult connections, whether they be in a romantic relationship, whether they be with our own children, whether they be with our neighbors, it was all governed about the earth experience. And that changed our desires. For example, somebody who's popular, they get to hold court. And that makes everybody else either resent them because of how they're being treated or applaud them because of how they're being treated. It creates the disavow. Thanks, Rosie. It takes away the part of what happens with the seven deadly sins and the seven holy virtues. Power can create greed and envy, lust, gluttony, sloth, wrath, and that's all using it in the negative sense. But when we learn to actually hold our own power as spiritual beings, we counteract those by using things like prudence against the greed. We use kindness instead of envy. We have chastity over lust. We have temperance over gluttony, and so on. So when we learn that we hold power within ourselves and not let it be out here in our world, we learn to start building that energy. And what happens for us is that we start learning that we can stand in our integrity and we can start being in our own power so that when people come in to own us or take control of us, we can build that power up within us and they can't do it. We start learning how to take charge of our own lives and we start learning how to speak our own truth. And that creates power within the spirit. If we work diligently through meditation and building those connections to our spirit team, then no one has power over us in an abject or a negative way. They come to us because we exude power in a kindly way, in a way that we can share. And the good in who we are starts to help heal those people who are so desperately in need of it. Um, have you ever seen people who are divorced? Oftentimes they're very angry because their ex did something. Well, they just handed that power over to them, and that broke them. So their inability to bring healing to themselves is taken away because they're holding that anger, that wrath. And if they had patience with themselves, they wouldn't have that same level. So their desire would change. So desires come from the something that we want. We want peace of mind. We want peace in our life. We want love. We want community. We want all the positive aspects. But we can't have that when we're not using our power. When we're letting somebody have our power by our giving them our anger, our wrath, our jealousies, our envy, our greed, and our fears. So we have to go back to, what is it that we fear? What is it that is so bad that you won't be loved, that you won't be cherished? Is it because you are gay? Is it because you're skinny? You're overweight? You're a different color? What is it that we have allowed people to create fear in us? Because truthfully, we're all spiritual beings. And if we're in our meditation and if we're in our connection with our spirit teachers, then they guide us. They will navigate us away from the negative aspects of power and start building it within us, which will deepen those connections, which will make that ability that you come to so graciously with your spirit gifts that much more blessed. We spend so much of our time arguing points and picking at each other because you're not doing it our way. You're not doing it my way. I don't believe that the minute that you say, I don't, you won't. You can't. You have set up a barrier to further progression. When you have sealed your lips and puckered it up and said, I'm going to be like this, then you're going through that time in which you have created a case in your head that will destabilize your very existence. The minute that you say, I can't do this because this situation has taken away my power, I'm helpless, then you've destabilized your progression. And that's not what we're here for. And we're here to give each other power. We're here to help each other grow. And having a meditation practice is one of those very first steps. It's about really learning to hold the power in meditation to a degree that you create peace in your meditation. I'll give you an example. Last night, I came in from Texas. I had gone to see my grandson, and there was so many cars on the side of the road that we had to detour. We got to Santa Rosa, and then we had to drop down to Vaughn and come up through from Vaughn to Klein's Corners just to bypass that pocket where there were a lot of car accidents. And I was very tense because the energy in that area was very overwhelming to me. So I was giving my power to the road. Instead of breathing deep and relaxing into it, I gave over to the fear for a while till it clicked with me, hey, wait a minute. So the steering wheel I was clenching and trying to get through because everybody was zigzagging, trying to get one up. And it just created that boiling of they're going to take over They're going to cut me off. They're going to slam on the brakes. They're going to, that I allowed that fear to get in. And when I had to just sit back and go, wait a minute, they can't hurt me if I just relax into the car. If I just relax in, they can zip around me all they want. They can't hurt me. So once I released that, I took back my power and I became calmer. Well, I can tell you I was plenty exhausted and my adrenals were completely shot by the time I got home. So I basically laid on the couch and just let go because I was home and I was safe and Cheyenne was too. So it was a very funny realization to me and why I decided to talk on power and desire. I was letting them take away what I desired, which was a beautiful drive home, understanding that I'd missed the worst of the storm, and I was going to get home in safety and I was going to relax and have a great dinner and everything was going to be wonderful. And I gave over my power. Well, that's just one example of it. I'm sure you can find a lot of examples. You might be one that has allowed their ex to micromanage their thoughts. You might be one that sees division in gender. You might be one that sees division in belief systems. And the minute we allow that division to take over, we've given our power over. The minute it's an either or scenario, not a together moment, we've given over that desire of a peaceful existence, of growing spiritually, of following our destiny path, and embrace the desire of the power, the craving of that power. I will get revenge on so and so because, as long as I'm doing good, they're going to see how bad they lost out. There's so many scenarios in which we really need to work on what is our power and what it does mean to own that power. Because if you're truly in your power, you're connecting to your spirit team. And that's all that really matters. Because they guide, like I said, they will guide you all the way through everything you need for your destiny and more. Their goal, their job is to help us. And the minute that we try to reach out and grab power on the mortal plane of existence, they just calmly sit back and wait for us to figure out if it's really worth it or not, and try to help us understand that there's more power in integrity and in kindness and in complete joy of just being one with how our consciousness is. Really experiencing our subconscious. I mean, we've been here millennia. Humankind has been on Earth through many civilizations, through many life experiences, and we haven't yet all gotten to the point where we can let everything go and just experience the experience. Because, we might be 5 days late on the electric bill and that creates panic. They're going to shut me off. Well, are they? Are they? I think there's a rule that they have to give you some time. And there's companies that are out there that'll help you pay your electric bill so it takes the pressure off of you. They don't do it all the time, but they realize once in a while people run into glitches and there's help out there. But we're not told where the help is to get past the fears on the mortal plane. We're told, well, you're not rich enough, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, and that all creates the desire for power. Well, if we're not smart enough, we're going to go and steal it, and we're going to take it away from somebody else instead of getting it ourselves. So using our power within, making those connections deep, letting your body resonate with the peace, those are the things that bring our true desires to the forefront. You can have everything you want. This planet is a planet of abundance. I mean, isn't there, every spring I go out, there's an abundance of weeds. Now, if the weeds can grow, Why can't I? They're not really weeds, they're just plants that serve a different purpose. So we designate what's ugly in those weeds, just like we designate what's ugly in us. So understanding that there is absolutely nothing ugly in you. There's some misunderstandings, misconceptions, but you are the most beautiful spirit within and without. And knowing that, you start owning your power. And it doesn't matter what somebody else does, it doesn't matter what somebody else has. We know overall that to get through a lot of what we're going through, we have to join together and find that inner peace. So when you're thinking of power, meditate, let the fears go, and walk in your strengths. Yes, we do have weaknesses, but when you walk in your power, you start dissipating the weaknesses. They start lessening. And then your desires will come more fully forward, what you truly desire, because what truly desire is to be happy and safe and calm and healthy. I mean, nobody's really worried about, gee, do I have a Jeep or a Lexus? Because when you understand that you have peace of mind and that you have an abundant flow of money coming in to buy a Jeep or a Lexus, then it's a choice. So it takes away the envy of greed, because you want everybody to have that abundance. You want everybody to have their choice. So think about how to use your power to create what you desire, because owning that power, building it up within you, brings your heart into a very beautiful space we call universal love, where one thing isn't better than the other, it just is. And everyone in it is a beautiful spirit. And our desires change. Think about it. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope the center will be open soon. It's getting awfully frustrating having this cold spell stop us from being in the center, but hey, you know what? Maybe we could all use a little bit more of a break. You have a wonderful day. My heart tears. Mwah. Love all of you, and we'll talk to you soon.